Well, back in 1938, I guess, I began school. I was 5 years old, so I went to first grade, started my school education. At that time, we had no country gravel roads around in our area. When it rained very much, the school bus, which was run or driven by an old gentleman out of Centerview, had a grocery store. He couldn't go because the mud had enough clay in it, it just rolled the tires, the wheels up with mud and, lock them down. So when it was muddy, he couldn't run the bus route. So we had to walk to school. It was a half a mile from where I lived to the railroad tracks, and then it was a mile to Centerview to the school. When it was really muddy, that half a mile for a 5-year-old was a pretty good challenge. But my older brother, who was 5 years older than I, he could help me some. And then we had a family that lived about another mile away that had to walk to school also. And there was 2 twin brothers that was probably in high school when I started to school. And they would pick me up and carry me that half mile till we got to the railroad tracks so I could make it. And then I could walk the railroad tracks and make it all right. When we came home, well, they carried me back the half mile on their way home, an additional mile. So I always will remember the blessing they were to me. They were Wisman brothers, Hillard and Harold. And I've always appreciated them for that fact. But anyway, my first grade teacher, I'm pretty sure was just fresh out of college and was my first love. She was a really nice person. About the middle of the school year, she went and got married and quit teaching. And so that broke my heart. But she had a good replacement, a very nice lady, and it just gave me another opportunity to learn more. I went to this school through my 11th grade, my junior year. They closed the school because several schools united into a larger area. So I went to college high school, which was a teacher's college in Warrensburg, Missouri. But anyway, I went there for my senior year. When I started school, I believe there was 3 first graders. Our school, we had the first and second grade combined in the same room. A teacher would teach first grade a while and then second grade a while. Then I think we went 3rd and 4th, and then they had 5th and 6th, and 7th and 8th. And then I was to high school, and of course we had the 4 high school grades, but a lot of it was combined with different grades. But anyway, it was a small school, and we had a few sports. I played softball and basketball. I wasn't any good at either one of them, but I was the tallest one in my class, so I played center until I foul out each game in the basketball game. And I always played right field, which meant I was the worst softball player on the team. But it was all out of necessity because we didn't have any excess boys to play in the sports. So everyone played. And we all had fun. It wasn't bloodthirsty competition at that time between schools. We played several different school districts, but there was no bitterness of any kind, and it was just all for fun. And no one was very good at any of it, but we had fun. When I started school, there was virtually no motorized vehicles. Almost altogether, it was just farmers who had a regular wagon and a team of horses if you went anywhere. Later on, some of the better financial farmers would have a buggy that they could ride in. You know, they had higher wheels and they didn't roll up in the mud and stuff like that. The Class A farmers had a buggy, but we didn't. We didn't have a vehicle till probably around 1940, and then the war hit. We still had to park our car and go by horse and wagon because you couldn't buy tires and the tires wore out. So Dad just jacked the car up till the war was over and we'd get tires. But then we went from the old farm wagon through the earlier cars and truck pickups, then into larger trucks and into airplanes and all that kind of stuff. When I started school, of course, we carried our lunch with us every day because there was no school lunch programs. Each family provided their own lunch. I don't remember what I took for lunch. I'm sure it was whatever we had available at the time, or else an egg sandwich, which we always had available because my mother baked bread every day, and so we had eggs. And then when I was in 8th grade, the public school lunch program came out in Missouri, and that was a great thing. It cost almost nothing, but we had nice soft factory baked bread and lots of hot butter. And our cooks, they fixed the lunch and then they served it also, and they would give you all you could eat if they had it. And I always ate a lot of hot bread and butter. That was a really good treat to me. Of course, we had that the rest of my school years. But one thing I remember is we had a little pantry, basically a little very small room in the basement of the school that was our library, which amounted to almost nothing. But also it was a storage for the government provisions that they supplied. And one thing I remember best of all, they had the large cans of tomato juice, which me and my friend at school, we would sneak off down in that school and get us one of those cans of tomato juice apiece and open it up and drink it on the spot and then hide the can. And that's something that I still remember and never did get caught at it. It was really good. Anyway, things changed in that time period a lot. Socially, everything came to life. And the talk